So for entry number 9, I had to find a composition that I was the most proud of. And the composition that I was the most proud of was my scoring composition. For this entry, I've chosen my scoring composition entitled Midnight Waltz in D minor. I chose this entry because I think that it's my best work this semester. After making this composition, I felt proud of myself, like I had taken a creative risk and ended up as a better composer. Step 1. Generation. My first step was to figure out what exactly I had to do. I wrote out different ideas for what I wanted my composition to convey. In the end, I settled on Dancing in Your Room at Midnight. After I figure out what I want to do, I need to figure out a chord progression. This was the chord progression that I settled on. After I had picked the chord progression, I needed a key and a time signature. I decided that I wanted my composition to be a waltz, so I decided it only made sense to have it in 3/4 time. The key I chose was D minor. I didn't really have a reason to choose D minor, it just sounded nice and I enjoy composing in a minor key. Step 2. Clarification. Now that I had set a goal, it was time to compose. I opened flat.io and created the amount of measures required. And then I labeled where each chord goes and then added Roman numerals underneath, ensuring that everything was fully labeled. On a sheet of paper, I wrote out the different notes on each chord, so I knew what the notes were and what the chord tones were. Step 3. Perspiration. I spent a while notating all the chords and adding chord tones for my 2 ostinati. Step 4. Incubation. At some point, I got burnt out and decided it was time for a break. I didn't look at my composition over the weekend and worked on other things. By Monday, I was ready to look at my composition again. I found that it lacked some dynamics and also realized that a lot of the labeling was gone. I fixed up any technical issues and asked my peers to evaluate. Step 5. Evaluation. First, I showed my composition to my parents, who said that it needed to be sped up. I asked one of my friends, who said it could flow better. I asked my teacher, who said that some of the notes were dissonant and that it needed more dynamics. Perspiration again. I sped up the tempo, added dynamics, and fixed the flow of the song. It was now time to present my composition to the class. Final evaluation. In the end, I did pretty well on the assignment, however my composition still lacked a few things. For example, sufficient amount of dynamics, and also there were not 2 ostinati playing throughout. Overall, I'm most proud of how I conveyed my mood, and from the feedback that I got, I was able to convey, the mood of dancing in your room at midnight through my instrumentation, the timbre of my instruments, through rhythm, through harmony, and through melody.